Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another NBA Top 20 video. Today we are doing Kevin Durant. This is our fifth player in the series. We just got done doing Nikola Jokic, and we are moving on to KD, who was involved in a little bit of news today. He is on the
He
move.
was.
He is on the
Hey, and
move to the Phoenix Suns, and I am very scared.
yeah, the Suns got a lot better with that trade. Real quick note on the guys we have done. Jokic is number one, and then it goes Damian Lillard, Shea Gilgeous, and Donovan Mitchell. It's anybody's guess where KD will end up, but I know where I'm putting him on this list as it stands today. Um, but let's go ahead and hit play on these highlights, Cade, and let's talk about that trade a little bit and what you think about how much harder and much more pressure that adds to your boy Nikola Jokic.
Yeah,
Jokic.
it is they are clearly the biggest threat to the Nuggets now, in my opinion. It's scary, man. I do think they
Shame
gave
for
up a
the
lot of their
Grizzlies.
depth. We did talk about this a lot during the trade deadline, so I don't want to spend too much time on the trade, but it is scary. It really is. I mean, him and Devin Booker and Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton. I mean, that's an excellent core four. So yeah, but Kevin Durant. Here's the
Flashy
thing.
player.
Like, to me, he has one of the sadder careers in the NBA, because if he played in almost any other era, he would have been the best player in the league at least for 4 years. Maybe a little longer. Uh, Unfortunately, he played for for all of LeBron's career.
Bookended by LeBron and Jokic.
Yeah, and even before Jokic took off, you could argue that like Giannis had
Curry.
kind of surpassed him. Curry had some years where he was better. He's just for whatever reason, he's just never been able to find his place as like the top dog. And now he's starting to. I mean, he's still elite, but I don't see him kind of hopping up, having a season where he hops up to become that dude for the rest of his career. But the one thing I will say about him is, from a scoring standpoint, he might be one of the 3-5 best just pure scorers I've ever seen, and in the history of basketball. Because when you talk about a guy who has his freakish length, his size, and his arm length, and his ability to rise up and take these jump shots that would be contested for anybody else, but is wide open for him because of how tall he is, and his ability to hit mid-range shots at an extremely high clip, hit three-pointers at an extremely high clip. His true shooting percentage has always been very good. It's one of his best this year as well. And for a guy that takes as many shots as he does, it's super impressive. And he's also a solid defender. He does everything pretty well. But like I said, it's sad, because he would be the best player in so many decades, but just not this one.
Yeah, he is. He's a really great player, and he had a cool story. I really liked that early KD career team with Oklahoma City. That was such a fun thing to watch, just kind of happen. I don't know that everybody saw all those pieces coming together like they did, and you almost wanted them to have gotten to win one, and then. And the other thing, it's almost like he had to go to Golden State to get a championship, is what it felt like. And then you thought he could leave there and win one, and then that hadn't happened. So I think you think that Jokic has a tremendous amount of pressure to win a championship. I think he does. I think he really wants to do it without Curry and without Thompson. And like, I really think that personally, he probably has a big chip on his shoulder about wanting to be, because he would be the guy who wins it for the Suns. I think it would be clear that if they win it, it's his. He owns it a lot.
Yeah. But there still is kind of like a little bit of a feeling that he knew that when he joined the Suns, it would be a super team, not to the extent of Golden State, because that team was just stupid, but
he really elevates them.
He does. One thing I kind of lost my train of thought there for a second. No, I know what I was going to say. I think that early in his career, playing with Russell Westbrook, playing with James Harden, and then when he got to the Warriors, that
was a good block,
not being the only top dog there, I think that really helped him long term in his career, because it kind of taught him to be both an on-ball player and an off-ball player, because that's the thing about Kevin Durant, is that stylistically he fits with almost anybody, because you can give him a really ball dominant player, a guy that needs the ball in his hands over 50% of the time, and he can still get you buckets. He can still get you 30 points a game like that. So yeah, Kevin Durant is, I think he's probably going to finish at least in the top 5 on this list right now, even though he does have some injury issues and, like there are still some concerns for this year, but I still think I can't think of a full list of 5 players that I would rather have over KD for this year.
For this year, yeah, it might be pretty tough. I'll say that he'll definitely be number 2 on the list that we have curated so far. I would probably put him at 5th. If I'm giving you a gut instinct, 5th or 6th is where he's going to land for me. I don't know where collectively we'll put him. I'll say probably 4th or 5th. But for me, 5th or 6th. So he'll probably land 5.
Yeah, 6. Like 6 maybe.
He's a player I'd love to have.
For sure. There are some players, I think, within like that 3 to 7 range that you could definitely argue. Do you put Curry over Durant? Do you put I think you probably put Giannis over Durant, but do you put Durant over Embiid? Like there are some questions there, but generally I view him as a top 5 player in the league, and he has been for a long time.
One of the top scorers. In fact, I'd say one of, if you were talking only scoring, he's one of the best guys. Then you get in, when you start to add in efficiency and you start to add in defense and win share and all that, I don't know. That's where he struggles. But
well, the thing you have to realize about
that might improve with Phoenix, I think. Like, I genuinely think it'll improve.
You would be hard pressed to find someone who shoots the ball as much as Kevin Durant does that is also as efficient as him. It just doesn't happen that often, especially for a guy that's not a big, a guy that's not a center, a guy that plays.
Really, him and Steph are the closest comparison in that regard. They shoot a lot, and they're not a big, and they are efficient with it.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Him and Steph, they're so different in a lot of ways, but the one way that they're really similar is that they're hyper efficient perimeter scorers. And so I don't know, man. I've never been the biggest I think I was a bigger fan of KD like early in his career than later, because I don't know, he got kind of weird. To me, he's kind of a weird guy, just like as a person. He seems like a really sensitive guy. To me, he's the type of guy that, like, if you're talking to him in person, he's like, "Oh yeah, man, social media is like killing society." But then, like, when he gets away from you, all he is
that burner account that he had really tarnished his image for people who just thought he was a cool dude with like confidence and was like an alpha, I guess, if you had to give it a word. But like I don't know, it's like he had his own little KD fan page that he ran. Yeah, and that kind of came to light or something. It was a weird scenario.
He's the type of dude that would post quotes about like not caring what other people think, and he would say to you, like, if you were trash talking him, he would be like, "Man, like, you're nobody, like, I don't even care," and then like he'd take 2 steps away and his eyes would start welling up, and like that. I don't know. He just seems like that kind of guy.
It's a weird critique of a great basketball player, but I agree with you.
I know
I didn't know how to articulate that, and then you started saying it, and I was like, see, that's exactly what my gripe has always been with him. Yeah. But let's jump into some metrics. The video's over. I say yes. So true shooting percentage 67.3%.
That's insane for a guy.
29.7 points per game.
That's wild, dude. For a guy that plays more on the perimeter, that is wild.
His win share per 48 is a lot lower than some guys, but that might be because he's been on the Nets, who have been a very good team, like overall, like they've been deeper. So I don't think that's a fair comparison to say that.
And he's dealt with
worse than, say, a guy like Anthony Davis, who is just now getting healthier again, and the team, like, it does rely on him to win. So the Nets didn't quite do that. So that's where that stat, even though we really like that, it really only applies in true outlier situations to me, like Jokic.
Yeah. He's
like,
not
as like the definitive point.
Right. He's not as good as he was pre-2017. like pre 2017, he was putting up win share per 48 that was pretty much on par with like what Jokic is doing. Not quite, but like, kind of close.
Up there,
295, 291, like that type of deal.
Like you said, his career had LeBron James on the front half in his prime, and now Jokic and Giannis. And so it's so difficult because you look at those years like 2013, 2014, best player in the league, arguably, and should have been able to continue that. And then he gets traded the next 3 years. He gets traded over to Golden State. So
Another thing to remember is that virtually for his entire time in Brooklyn, he has dealt with injuries, like playing through injuries, being out because of injuries. He hasn't played that much.
I think he's a tougher player than he looks like. Like he looks like he would be very fragile given his
lanky
build.
Yeah, his lankiness. Yeah.
But he is a very tough player, and even though he does seem in some ways, like you said, emotional, I do think he's a good team guy. Like I would rather have a guy like him than Kyrie if they had equal talent. But obviously I mean it because KD's a better talent. But even if they were equals, I would rather KD than Kyrie.
I definitely think I don't think that Kevin Durant is a team killer or anything like that. I think that he can fit into a locker room. But I do think that you have to have a certain personality type to be able to jive with him, because even though like him and James Harden and him and Kyrie, like publicly they were all cool even up to the end, I do think there was probably a little tension there that didn't get aired out. The tension that he had with Draymond Green in Golden State did get aired out. He had tension with Russell Westbrook later on in the Oklahoma City days. But but in each of those situations, to me, I put the blame a little bit more on the other player. Because they've proven to me over the course of time to just kind of be flaky people. Draymond Green, Russell Westbrook, Kyrie, like you're just dealing with some weird dudes. So yeah, I don't put all that much stock into the idea that KD is a bad teammate. But when you dig into these metrics, it's clear that he is, to me, his consistency is the thing that's so impressive, despite the fact that he has dealt with a lot of injuries the past several seasons. When he's played, he's still been like an elite level scorer and player. A 618 career true shooting percentage for his style of play is almost as unfathomable as Jokic's efficiency has been over the past 3 seasons. It really is. Because if you look at Jokic's career true shooting percentage, I don't think it's much higher than that. Because the first few years of his career, he wasn't quite as efficient. But we don't have to look at that or anything. But,
I was about to say, is Jokic a guy, or is Durant a guy that does that does have room, especially after the trade, when we look at what's going to happen after the All-Star break and for the postseason? Because this list is about this season. Is he one who is up there in the potential 2, 3, 4 category, or let's just say the number 2, or potential to take Jokic's claim to fame there at number 1?
I don't think he has number 1 potential anymore. He's 34 years old, and he's not going to improve as a basketball player. The one thing that the one reason I will say he does have a little bit room to move up is because of the injuries. If he can get back fully healthy, get back into rhythm and everything, he could go on a stretch of dominance that just necessitates us moving him up from 5 to say 3 or maybe 2. Pushing it.
But he's about to be number 2 right now, just based on the way we're doing this project. But I'll tell you that as I then began to think about the purpose of the list is about this year and the impact that this player has on a team's potential to win the championship, I do think I like him more with the Suns. If Booker can get healthy and that whole team can be what they should be, I do think that he could actually make it a sweat at number 1. In fact, I'm probably thinking that as I look at the other guys, I'd be hard pressed to put them above him. Some of these names, especially when we're talking about non-big men, I think he's going to end up being my best one there. And that might be a shocking statement because I know we haven't even talked about Luka, and there's other guys on that list. But I'm thinking about a guy who has a ton of
God.
playoff experience, has a ton of championship experience, who's done it before, who's not a team killer, who can put up these stats, who's a great shooter, who's getting healthy. Like I do kind of think, and he's only 34. Yeah, that's older, but it's like it's still in that window of being in your prime in the NBA. So I'm gonna say, gosh, I think he might be better than I was originally expecting as I've just sat here and thought about him.
Well, I agree with you that he's going in at number 2, obviously for where we're at right now with this list. To be honest, I had kind of forgotten about Luka whenever I said that he's like a clear cut top 5, because that's something I'd have to think about. Uh, but you
we'll
are
see when we get to those players, but
you are right that
he's got an argument.
He does. Like I said, it's very blurry. Like 3 to 7, 3 to 8 can get very blurry. But right now he's going in at 2. I feel very comfortable putting him there. I don't think any of the guys behind him have an argument, and I don't think he has an argument to be better than Jokic at this moment in time. So yeah, I think we're both in agreement on that. Just a little side note, the cleaning the glass on-off thing, he is a plus 11 this year. Very good. Last year was plus 13. So nothing weird there. So it's showing us what we already know, that he is an elite player. But yeah, I think that is going to do it. Guys, please leave a comment letting us know what you think of this series and just the way that we're doing it. If you have any advice, let us know. Something that you want to see, let us know. Or if you just think that our opinion on this is wrong, let us know. Also, leave a like. Go visit our socials, Edgefinder07 on Twitter, Beanie Antics on Twitter, and subscribe. Yeah, see you guys later. Peace.
Thanks.